studying Elisha and all sorts of things that he did. The Bible records a lot of little things that he did, some little prophecies that he gave. They weren't little to the people involved, of course, but they don't have a major impact on the overall story. But one prophecy, or one thing that he did, he told his servant, who was not Gehazi anymore. Gehazi, remember, went and took the clothes from Naaman when they weren't supposed to get any rewards at all, and then Gehazi had leprosy from then on. It appears he no longer worked for Elisha. He is mentioned, but in conjunction with someone else after that instance. But Elisha told his servant that he did have, his new servant, take this bottle of olive oil, go to the man named Jehu. You know him, he's an army commander. Go to him. When you get there, he's going to be in a room with a bunch of other people. Take him to a different room, so it's just the two of you. I want you to pour this oil on his head, and I have a message to give you, and then run for your life.
Okay.
So the servant took the oil. He went to the house where Jehu was. He got Jehu into a room, just the two of them. He poured the oil on him, and he said, the Lord says, you are going to be the next king of Israel. You are to kill all of Ahab's descendants and destroy them, just like God prophesied through Elijah many years ago. You are supposed to fulfill this prophecy. And then the servant turned around and ran. So Jehu, I can imagine, he just went and went back in the other room with the other people. The men in the other room said, okay, what did this man want? What's going on? And Jehu said, you know him, he's nuts. They said, you're keeping a secret from us. So Jehu told them what the man said, and all the men in the room with him laid their coats in front of him and began to say, long live King Jehu. So Jehu got in his chariot. He gathered all his men around him in their chariots, and they started heading for the city.
Chariots?
Yeah. They had started, unfortunately our flannel only comes with one chariot, so you got to imagine, pretend they're all in chariots. They started heading for the city that the king of Israel was in. This was the grandson of Ahab. So Ahab had died in battle. Jezebel is still alive, Ahab's wife. And Ahab's son had died, and now we're on Ahab's grandson. But interesting, the king of Judah was the son of the daughter of Ahab. Ahab's daughter had married the king of Judah in this time. So he is there visiting the king of Israel. They had both been injured in a battle, and they were there visiting, paying their condolences to each other, get well visit. But he was a descendant of Ahab too. And someone looked out the window of the city and said, you know what, I see a whole bunch of men coming to the town. And the king said, well, send a messenger to him and ask him, are you coming for peace or are you coming for war? So the messenger went out, he arrived at Jehu, and he said, are you for peace or for war? Jehu says, you know what, as long as Ahab's descendants are alive, there's no peace. Join us. And the messenger did. And then the king sent a second messenger, and the same thing happened. So the king said, okay, get my chariot ready. Someone said, this looks like Jehu's driving, because he's driving like a nutcase. So it looks like Jehu. So the king went out to meet him. When he got to Jehu, he said, Jehu, are you coming for peace or are you coming for war? And Jehu said, as long as your mama lives, we're not having peace. The king turned around in his chariot, started yelling, treason, treason, and headed back to the city. Jehu shot an arrow and killed him. He then killed the king of Judah, and he drove into the city, and when he did, Jezebel looked out of her window. So Jehu said, anyone out there on my side? Two servant men stuck their heads out, and he said, throw her down. So they threw her down out of the second-story window, and they trampled her. Here's the interesting thing. The king of Israel, when he fell out of his chariot, they left him there, dead. That was the vineyard that Ahab stole from Naboth. The prophecy was that Ahab's descendants would receive their punishment in that vineyard, and they did. The prophecy had also been that Jezebel would never be buried. After they had a feast, they went out, yeah, she's a king's daughter. Go bury her. She should at least have that much, I guess. But by the time they got there, all the stray dogs in the city had eaten her. There wasn't enough left to bury. So Jezebel was not buried. All of Elijah's prophecies were completely fulfilled to the letter. So, on that cheerful note, let's sing a song.
So happy day.
And a great song to go with it. I've got the joy, 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 count it in my heart. Count it in my heart. Count it in my heart. I've got the joy, 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 count it in my heart. Count it in my heart to stay. And I'm so happy, so very happy. I have the love of Jesus in my heart, and I'm so happy, so very happy. I have the love of Jesus in my heart. I am happy that God